We now know 8 Americans are among 12 people killed in a tourist bus crash in Mexico. 3 Americans who died were from the same family. Anna Behar, her 11-year-old son Daniel, and 78-year-old Fania Shamus were killed in this accident. Andy and Jody Fritz, both 51 years old, were also killed. Some of the 18 people injured are recovering in Chetumal, Mexico. Manuel Bojorquez is there with details of the investigation. Manuel, good morning.
Good morning. Mexican prosecutors indicate that skid marks at the crash site show the driver may have been speeding. A Behar family member tells us his nephew, Moises, has been flown to Miami, where he's being treated for broken ribs and blood between his chest and lungs. He is also mourning his wife, son, and mother-in-law.
It's a great loss.
Dr. Israel Franco's nephew, Moises Behar, was on the bus with his wife, 2 children, and mother-in-law. He and his older son David survived the crash. The others were killed.
He clearly was in shock, and the way he told me, so nonchalant, that his son died in his arms, I knew that he was absolutely in shock.
Franco saw video of his nephew walking around the crash scene looking for his family.
The last thing you're thinking about when you go on a cruise is your safety, that something as banal as taking a bus to go to somewhere is going to end up leaving you dead or, your children orphaned.
Red Cross responder Marcelino Perez says the crash is the worst he's ever seen.
You saw that they were clearly in shock.
They were in a desperate state, he said, crying. Some were screaming because of their injuries and finding their relatives dead.
Cruise lines have no regulatory oversight.
Jim Walker is a former defense attorney for cruise lines who now represents passengers in several cases against cruise lines. He says they don't do proper background checks.
It's pretty much being offered as by way of word of mouth. They're operating primarily to make as much money as they can.
There is conflicting information about the bus driver. Earlier, state tourism officials here in Quintana Roo had said the driver was injured and being held. Later, the state prosecutor said the driver's whereabouts are unknown. Norah?
Wow. Manuel Bojorquez in Mexico, thank you.